guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 14, episode 16. If I can be all the way 100 with y'all, I am so glad next week is the season finale. Then we gonna hop up into this reunion. I can move on to Jersey and Potomac because I'm tired. So let's get into it. So y'all know before some of my videos, we talk about the salaciousness or the gossip going on the timeline, if it pertains to the episode. So I'm still mulling over what I want to call this. I've narrowed it down to two. I don't know which one I want yet. One is like, ooh, it's getting spicy. The other one was going to be like, this is spicy. But I just want to say spicy in videos. I like to say that word, especially when it's referred to people's attitudes. I think it's cute. Okay? But we're going to talk about Sheree and Drew arguing on the timeline and how honestly they both read each other. And I was like, okay. Points were made. Points were made. So let's get into it. So it first starts off, and like the diva says, start at the beginning. Drew kicked this off by saying this. She posted a video, not a video, but a picture of when her and Sheree were having the conversation about the expenses of the whole entire party that they threw for Kenya and Marlo. And Drew said this: the moment I realized I wasn't getting paid. So then Sheree quote tweets this and says, girl, shut up. You were paid $1,000 to do this small get together, and anything over this is on you. Hashtag I'm not buying friendship. Hashtag RHOA. So then Drew responds by saying, so you wanted a cheap party like your cheap joggers. Girl, bye. So then Sheree responds back by saying, just like them cheap ass wigs you were wearing last season, hashtag respect the OG. So then Drew posts a picture of Sheree, I think it was like season 4 where she had the bang and it was the bob, and then this season where she had the Elvira like bouffant hairdo in her confessional, and Drew was like, I'ma just sit this right here. So then Sheree responds by saying, bad hair days and bad wigs are two totally different things. I don't wear cheap wigs. So then they continue to argue. So then Drew responds and says, nothing cheap about go naked hair. Now you're just a cheap ass hater. So then Sheree responds by saying, girl, you know that hair from last season was not go naked. Ditzy ass can't remember them horrible wigs she had on. And then Drew responds, how would you know you wasn't even here? So then Sheree responds by saying, girl, the world knows. When I came back, I didn't know who you were, but was told that you had cheap ass wigs, bad makeup, and wore fake clothes. I'm glad you're able to rent real designer pieces now. So then Drew responds, happy the world is seeing my glow up, but don't forget I'm not the cheap one here. And then Sheree says, I'm so glad the world can see you. I'm so glad the world can give you attention you aren't receiving at home. So then Drew said, that's not one of my issues, but at least I have a husband. So then Sheree said, you do. One that humiliates you, degrades you, makes you look stupid, and makes you look weak, and disappears on you. Hashtag I'll pass. So then Drew says, you have been really invested into my husband all season, but you need to worry about your new storyline. Hashtag fake Martell Holt TV personality. So then Sheree responds by saying, who's helping you with them reads tonight, girl? You need to hire them for the reunion. Hashtag she'll buy reads from y'all. And I think that's how it ended. I don't know if it continued, but yeah, that's how it ended. So I was like, ooh, why y'all going at each other like this? So I said that friendship y'all made, or that truce y'all made this episode, I guess that went right out the door. But one thing I will say is throwing men in people's faces, especially women, isn't really a dig to me like it used to be, because y'all men are embarrassing, okay? The moment you try to prop up your man, that's the moment you are going to get embarrassed. So it really didn't hit. I will say, though, Sheree got a point when Drew was like, at least I got a husband. And she was like, girl, he humiliates you. He disrespects you. He makes you look weak. And he disappears. Where was he when he was in Florida? I was like, oh, she got you there. But then Drew came back with the whole like, sis, you've been invested in my man, but you have a fake relationship with Martell Holt, because don't nobody believe that, Sheree. So I said they got each other, but throwing men in each other's faces, like I said, doesn't really hit for me anymore, because I'm just like, as I've gotten older, back in the day it did, because I was like, yeah, girl, at least she got one because you want one. But now as a young adult, girl, they be embarrassing us. It's hard out here being heterosexual, because the men's like to make fools of us. They just do. So I was like, that's not a read, but I did find it funny. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoy when Sheree and Drew go back and forth, because I think they're slightly evenly matched. And sometimes you never know what the outcome's going to be. Somebody might best one, the other one might best the other. And I enjoy those types of feuds with people where it's like, it's like 60-50. Like we're somebody's for 50% all the way about to give it to you, but the other person got that extra 10% to really like take you out. I enjoy that. I really do. But let's get into this review. So the episode opens up and we see Ace and Candy show up to like an audition class. I guess they're teaching him how to do a good audition tape. So it seems like Ace is interested in doing like acting. So that was cute. I fast forward through that scene, but it's nice that they're encouraging him to do things that he actually enjoys. Then let me get Marlo and the boys out the way. So the 30 days are up and the boys are actually coming back to stay with Marlo, and she's actually excited for them. I know we're all on the we hate Marlo train, and she ain't done herself no favors. Yeah, she really ain't done herself no favors this season. But what I will say is, I do like the fact that William and Michael are back with her. It seems like the boys are a lot more settled and seem a lot more comfortable being with Marlo. And I appreciate that. Like, to some extent, she has made a home for them where they do seem comfortable with her. And I think that's nice, especially if they haven't had that up until now. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, Marlo's using those boys for a storyline. I just think it's so sick and wrong. That's reality TV. Like, if we gonna keep it a buck, that's reality TV. We're watching people's real life. Like, one of my favorite shows is Love After Lockup, and that is such an exploitative show because a lot of them should not be on the TV. A lot of them, like, that show deals with drug addiction. It deals with, like, abuse on different levels and different types. It deals with, like, family trauma, family curses. So like, that's real life. And for a lot of people would be like, oh, the show's like, no, that's not how reality TV is supposed to be. But that's what reality TV was before all of this. Reality TV was more so like documentaries, which I love documentaries. And that's what it was supposed to be. But it switched because they found the entertainment value in it. And also, like, I don't mind Marlo saying she needed a break. Like, if you go and hit the hashtag on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, like, parents, it's men and women on there begging their community to, like, or their village to take their kids for like a weekend or for 3 days or for a week or for 2 weeks because they're overwhelmed and they just need a break to just take a deep breath and breathe. So if Marlo, who is not their biological parents, is asking for a break and biological parents are asking for a break, who am I to fault her for it? Now, what I will say is the way in which she went about it, I thought was wrong, because at the end of the day, there's a better way you can handle this. You're adding to their trauma by telling them to get out when it seems like that is what's been done to them over and over and over again. So there's better ways to handle this. So her saying that she's going to actually implement taking the boys to therapy with her would help, because they need it. You need it. So do that. I will say though, I did not like how William and Michael were talking negatively about the aunt's home, because we know the aunt has 4 kids who seem to be all in elementary school, as well as she has a job and it seems like she's a single mother. No, we not gonna, we know how black people are about cleanliness. We don't like when people try to say our house is dirty. It pisses us off. It makes you get very offended, me included, and get you might that might get you up in the face. Like, don't tell me my house is dirty, because it's not. You dirty. That's the energy I normally give when people try to when people try me. Like, oh, you can straighten up here. You straighten up at your house, okay? Because this isn't dirty. This is clean. Okay, the floor is vacuumed. The tables are clear. They're wiped down. We use bleach, Clorox, Fabuloso, and Awesome in the house of Leah. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. That's the energy. That's the energy you sometimes got to give these people, okay? But I just didn't like it. They could have had that conversation offline. There was no need to film it, because at the end of the day, she did Marlo a favor. She didn't have to take them kids. She got 4 of her own. And y'all know, especially if they're boys, I don't know what don't be clicking in here for them, but like, just straightening up and throwing things away in your bathroom ain't enough. I need you to scrub the toilet, scrub the tub, wipe down them windows with mirror with Windex, get your Clorox wipe and wipe. So I didn't like that. But like I said, I'm happy that the boys are back with Marlo, because it does seem like they're more comfortable being around her. And as well as, if you think about it, like, their situation reminds me of a class I took. I took like a psychology class in undergrad, and I remember my professor talking about how one of her best friends is bipolar, and sometimes she has really, really manic highs and really low lows. And the lady had, like, I think like 2 daughters, and she would say when she would have her depressive moments, she would just drop the kids off at my teacher's house, and the girls were so like bored at her house, because they were used to, when their mom was manic, they would just go off and do stuff, and nothing would be planned. They would like go to the movies, to the aquarium, to the zoo, out of the country, like to the beach. Like, they would just move. So like, when they would go spend time with my teacher, they were bored. And when she would try to implement structure for them, they would be like, whoa, like, that's not what we do, because that's not really what they did. So I think that's what the boys are feeling like. If they're used to being moved around and having to fend for themselves, when someone tries to like put structure or put rules in place, you do get like pause. Like, you do get defensive, or you avert it, because it's like, that's not what I've been doing, and I've been doing this, and I'm just fine, not realizing you're not fine. So I get them being defensive. I get them being combative, as well as like probably trying to work out their own feelings with how they feel about their mom and their whole living situation, So I'm glad that they're going to go to therapy, because they all need it. So next, let's talk about Drew, Sonya, and Sheree. So Drew actually did really hurt herself. They showed us she had to get the stitches, something with her Achilles tendon. I guess they had to like go in there and reinforce it. I don't know. And so she's hopped up on pain meds at her house. We see Ralph is there taking care of her. They have food being prepared. So then we see Sheree and Sonya pop up. Now, it was cute for what it was. Sheree and Drew actually had a moment where Drew was just like, I know we started off on the wrong foot, but I'm so happy that we're back in a better place. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That is cute. Like, y'all are back in a better place. She showed like this was supposed to be a measure of good faith towards her, as like, hey, like, I just want to make sure you're okay. But what I will say is, Drew and this whole like, I don't know how we started off on the wrong foot. You do know how we started off. Anthony, you was trying to be messy, and she just threw the mess back at you, and you got mad. Anthony started this off, and you decided to bring it to the show and bring the mess. So let's call a thing a thing, bro. Let's call a thing a thing. So Sonya pops up. They're trying to update Drew on everything, especially about how Kenya ran Sonya down. And Sonya even admitted, like, Kenya got me together. But then Sheree had to make it worse by, like, because it was a joking moment. But Sheree had to make it messy by being like, oh, Kenya said that she felt like Ross was very aggressive and she didn't like that. So then Drew was like, oh, aggressive? Mind you, Drew was hopped up on pain pills and kind of going in and out. Low-key, she fell asleep when Sonya called Kenya. So Sonya calls Kenya, and when she calls Kenya, it must have been dead in the night, because Drew was like, you gonna call her now? And Kenya answered like, "Oh my god, like, she was like, are you okay? Like, you like it feels like she just woke up. It like she woke up." So then Sonya's trying to go off on Kenya. Kenya's not really like understanding because it sounded like she was half asleep. And then Sonya's whole thing is like she wished she had a husband to defend her. And like I've been telling y'all, she would. When they showed the flashbacks of Kenya trying to throw Mark in Marlo's face, I think that was season 12 or season 12 or season 11. We know for sure Kenya would. But in this moment, girl, why are you calling this lady at the dead of night thinking that she was going to be confrontational with you? And if I was Kenya, I would have hung up on her. Like, I'd have been like, matter of fact, I wouldn't even answer the phone, but it seems like Kenya, the sense of urgency in Kenya's voice sounded like she thought maybe something bad happened. So that's why she picked up the phone. But then Sonya got off the phone. She was like, bitch. And like, everybody was like, ooh. So I was just like, Sonya, either you gonna get ate up again at the reunion or the reunion, or you just gonna have to like figure out your feelings towards Kenya. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they want Kenya, the Sonya gone. This was the same energy we felt for Drew. And it's weird to me that Team Twirl is all on the Drew train because she stuck up for Kenya. But let's not forget, Drew did the same thing Sonya did, where she was all up in Kenya's business, really co-signing Portia, but then flipped the script when she realized Portia wasn't going to be on the show anymore and she didn't have an ally. So if Sonya does the same thing or become neutral, y'all gonna be riding for Sonya. So miss me with that. Sonya's doing what needs to be done so she can stay another season. She getting into it with the OGs so she can have somebody to like combat and go back and forth with, so they will want to bring her to the next season. The only person I feel like might need to be worried is Sheree, because Sheree ain't really got that much going on. But they saying that Candy and Sheree got really into it and things were made clear about where they were in their situation. But yeah, Sonya needs to take it down a few notches. I get it, girl. You got issues with Kenya. Let's move on. Okay, so the next scene is with Sheree and Kenya auditioning models with Miss Rawan. Girl, Miss Rawan was that girl on this episode for me. Like, I like when people are sarcastic and rude at the same time. It adds a sense of zest for me. And she was all of that. She shaded Sheree and she shaded Kenya. And I loved it. I loved it. When that lady said confetti, I screamed. I legit was like, she ain't do that. And I rewinded. She was like, I'm happy for you. Confetti. Go off, Rawan. Go off. All right. Okay, so we have this scene open up and we're at, I guess, the showroom. And we know that Miss Rawan is probably well known in Atlanta for hosting fashion events, for accumulating models for like go-sees and stuff like that. And things of that nature. We see Kenya come in. Kenya's like, why didn't you tell me to advertise for you, because you should have way more models than that. And one thing I will give Kenya is very supportive of Sheree. It seems like Kenya wants Sheree to like win and do well and thrive and actually like have this fashion show and make it work. So I'll give Kenya that she does seem to really care. And in this moment with Miss Rawan, I think Kenya, over her sense of urgency and like anxiousness probably took over, because I was like, girl, she hired Rawan. Rawan is doing her job with how much she got paid, because Rawan chimes in and she was like, well, we wanted this to be small because this is how I normally operate. And Kenya was like, well, it should be bigger. And then Rawan was like, well, if the budget was bigger, then it would have been bigger. I said, come on, Rawan. Rawan said, girl, don't do me. You in my house, okay? So then they're talking, and Kenya even said in her confessional, but she didn't say it to Sheree, which I was kind of surprised how she said she didn't like that Sheree went back and told Sonya about how she said Ross was aggressive. She was like, that's very bone collector antics, and I didn't appreciate it. And I was like, well, tell her that. Tell her that, Kenya. Tell her you didn't appreciate it. Tell her. So I was like, okay. So then they're sitting down, and I guess the way that they were sitting down, Kenya didn't like the arrangement, and she was like, "Can we move over here? Can we move this? It should be like a runway." And Rawan is like, "Well, this is how I run it," and Kenya was like, "You're running it the wrong. Like this is the way I run it," and she was like, "Oh, the wrong way." I said, "Okay, Kenya, calm." Ease down on your spicy girl. Calm down. So they ended up sitting in a different seat, and the people came walking in and walking out. And for the most part, I thought all the people that auditioned looked pretty, but like I guess some of the people weren't like height standard wise or whatever. I don't know. I just thought all the people that auditioned look pretty decent. So then we have this moment between Rawan and Kenya where the girl was handing like I think a headshot, and Kenya was like, "Well, why isn't her information on the back of it? We don't want to lose her information." And Rawan was like, "Girl, this is how I run it. It doesn't need to be on the back of there. Like it's fine." So then Kenya was like, told the girl, "Put your stuff on the back of it." And then Rawan was like, "Yeah, put your stuff on the back of it if it makes her feel better." And Kenya was like, "It does." And then Rawan say, "Ooh, good for you." Confetti. Rawan was that girl for me this episode, because when she did the hand confetti, I said, I like Rawan, and I think I saw a clip of the after show, and it seems like Rawan and Kenya don't have beef. Rawan said Kenya actually said she likes Rawan, but I like Rawan too, because Rawan was like, girl, she was so over Kenya. It was cute. It was a cute, like shady scene where it was like it didn't get out of character, like the whole coochie crack thing. Coochie crack. It was fun. I liked it. I like Miss Rawan. Bring her back, Sheree. The host of Vince. I like her. So then the next scene we have is of Ralph doing his book cover photo shoot, and Drew's mom is there. They again speak about the whole thing with Josiah, and the mom is kind of taken aback because she was like, "You did say you were going to adopt him. Like, what has changed?" So we end up finding out that Ralph invited Josiah's biological father to come to one of his basketball games, and Ralph told him, like, "I'm thinking about adopting Josiah." And the guy said, "I can't tell you not to because you've been in his life for so long, but I want to fight for a position in my son's life, and that would kind of hurt me." So Ralph was like, "I just want to respect his wishes." So then, and he did that whole thing I think is stupid when women and men say, "What's a piece of paper?" A piece of paper means a lot. A piece of paper is a driver's license. A piece of paper is a business license. A piece of paper is like an acceptance letter into college. Like, a piece of papers mean a lot. So then Drew was like, "Then what was the reason for us to get married if it's just a piece of paper?" And that's my thing. I think the whole piece of paper argument is stupid to me, because a piece of paper does mean a lot. A piece of paper can determine whether or not you deserve to be in this. Well, I don't say deserve. You are legally able to be in this country and not get deported over the stupidest things. And in other countries, a piece of paper is how you get to get a passport in order for you to go to different embassies and go to different countries. So I'm just like, that whole piece of paper argument has never hit with me. And when dudes say it when it comes to marriage, I'm just like, bro, say it with your chest. You don't want to marry her or him, because it happens in the gay community, because I've seen it. Just say you don't want to marry that person. Say it with your chest. I would respect you more if you just said it with your chest. What we doing? So they have that. Then we see a flashback of Sheree and Drew basically saying they want to throw a party for Marlo and Kenya, because they're both the Aquariuses in the group. So they throw the party. This is where we have the infamous scene that Drew was talking about, where the party ended up being, I think, $1,300, and they even had expensive. So like flowers were $500, balloons were $700, the chairs were $200. Table settings, $160. Catering was $400, and then something else was $200. So, and then the service fee, because I guess they were actually there to service and help, was $540. So altogether, Sheree's balance, because I guess they split the bill, was supposed to be 1350. So Sheree was acting like she didn't know what was going on. And first of all, I thought Sheree's outfit was backwards. I was like, why does she have on this jacket backwards? And I'm of the belief that it was backwards and she just chose to wear it that way, because the opening in the back didn't make sense to me. The outfit just didn't make sense to me. I was just like, no, this can't be it. But in this moment, what Anthony said about Sheree kind of made sense, about him saying like she don't like to pay people or she likes to bargain and things of that nature, because like you already know that the party was supposed to be a joint venture. Why would you not think you had to split the bill? And if so, why didn't you and Drew talk about what was being done? Sheree is over here talking about, well, like, I'm already spending a lot because of the fashion show. No one told you to be ill prepared for your fashion show, ma'am. No one told you that. But if you agreed to go in half and half on a party, then go in half and half. Pay your part and go on. And so, like, I mean, it makes sense because Sheree said in that Twitter comment, I paid $1,000. So, she paid $1,000, but I guess she didn't pay the $350. But I'm looking at Sheree like, girl, if you could pay $1,000, you could pay $350. Keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. So, it was a surprise. None of the women knew that the surprise was for Kenya and Marlo because they're both the Aquariuses. They came in. I did think it was rude that Kenya saw Marlo behind her and like shut the door and just walked in. That's how you know she really don't like her, because I've done that to people I don't like. Normally I will hold the door for strangers, but if I don't like you, who holding? I don't see you. The door won't be held. So I get it. I did think Marlo looked cute in that Fendi pink outfit. She looked cute. The booty was bootying. It was cute. It was a really cute outfit. We find out that Kenya's cousin, Sherry, is it Sherry? I think that's how you say it, or Shay. She was invited, so she showed up. And then Marlo's goddaughter, her best friend, and I think another friend popped up. I do find it weird that Kenya don't have any other friends than the cousin. Maybe I do think Kenya does have other friends instead of her cousin, but I'm like, maybe they're not comfortable on the show. But I wish they would come up on the show, because I'm like, her cousin didn't even look like she wanted to be there, to be honest. Her energy was a little like but Marlo's friends looked happy to be there. We got a really nice speech from her friend who was just like, Marlo's a good person, but she's set in her ways. I tell her all the time to stop fighting with Kenya. Don't fight with Kenya. So, I want y'all to work on your friendship. But cheers to both you and Marlo. It was a nice speech. Marlo and Kenya talked about their rift and why they battle it out. And the truth of the matter is, they, like I told y'all in my earlier reviews, they both had said some very like negative and below the belt comments to each other that they really have not sat down and really processed and tried to get through. Constantly referring to Marlo as a prostitute, saying that Marlo got a square reader between her legs, and saying that nobody wants to be a prostitute. And then Marlo hitting digs at Kenya, saying, you already know you're a horrible person because your own mother don't want you. Then to speak negatively about Brooklyn, if that is true, and other things. So they've both said really hurtful things to each other. And it's kind of like, y'all never are going to get to a place where y'all can trust one another if y'all really don't just set everything on the table. Because Marlo's whole thing is like, why are we going to the past? You need to go to the past, deal with that so you can set the ground and walk in a new light. That's the issue I have with Marlo and Kenya, because they really don't see it for each other. But you can tell that they slightly get along, because the fact that they was making fun of Sheree with ease and they were both giggling at each other, there's a slight ounce of like, I like you a little bit. I don't know if it's ever going to grow to this, but it's right here when it comes to them. So Sheree passes out these invitations. And I thought the invitations was cute. Candy's read about like, she just need to make clothes for Barbie had me weak. But I thought the outfits of like the replica of outfits of that, what she's going to have at the fashion show was nice. But the issue is Sheree don't have none of her pieces. And like all of them were saying, you just want to have a party. Because she then tells us how There's a designer in LA that is making the pieces, and her friend lives in LA, and her friend has been going back and forth checking the pieces and saying that most of them look good, but not all of them, as well as another how somehow some of her shipments got lost in Africa, Alaska. So her clothes are in Alaska, so I'm like, is there like a sewing company in Alaska or a distributor in Alaska? Either way, like I told y'all, and like that one commenter said on my video, I said it and I meant it. Sheree's line needs to have a Vikings funeral. After this, if Sheree is on next season, I don't want to hear no more about She by Sheree, because at this point, you're not passionate about it. Because if you were, these problems would not be happening like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. No, I think 2 weeks before your actual event. Like, you would not be scrounging and scrambling trying to do this, ma'am. And then when Kenya did the whole Dwight, how you going to have a fashion show without any fashions? It's about to happen all over again because you don't know what you're doing. But they had a good time at the party. They danced it out and it was cute. So then we finally see Apollo. Apollo trying to paint this picture like Phaedra left him for dead. Your dumbass was the one that got locked up again. Who told you to get locked up again, Apollo? Be smarter. Be smart if you gonna scam. And the fact that he had a confessional, y'all really think we care that much about Apollo? He's still cute, but don't nobody care about Apollo. Let him and that other lady that he married to now, that he met in prison, be happy and go off into the sunset. He don't need to be on my screen. He do not need to be on my screen. But he gonna walk in the fashion show. Him and Sheree actually met up for coffee. They talk about Tyrone. They talk about the games the dudes be playing in prison to pass the time. We all know that. Like I told y'all, I love after lockup. Everybody be scamming, the women and the men. So if you get caught up, you get caught up because you got evidence of people getting caught up. So think smarter. And that's where it ended. I was surprised that Sheree didn't ask for Cynthia to be back, but she probably can't afford Cynthia because Cynthia is a real model. A real model, and real model charge real prices. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below and let me know your thoughts.